5 living presidents, 2 Supreme Court justices, 11 governors, and 100 legislators descend from ancestors who enslaved black people. Let's just run those numbers back for a second. 100 legislators. Well, that's quite a few. 11 governors, given the fact that there's 50 states. Okay, not a great percentage, but could be better, could be worse, right? 2 out of the 9 Supreme Court justices. All right then, and 5 living presidents. Wait a minute. How many living presidents are there? There's 6. Oh, interesting. Well, maybe that's just former president. Oh no, wait. The picture, the first one that's up there, it's Joe Biden. I wonder who could be off that list for a second. But Reuters did a deep dive a little while ago when they found out America's family secret. Let's just go ahead and put that all in, its proper connotations. America's family secret. More than 100 U.S. leaders, lawmakers, presidents, governors, and justices have slave-holding ancestors. At this point in time, how many generations removed? Like, just get over it. A Reuters examination found few are willing to talk about their ties to America's original sin. Do they not want to talk about it, or is it just totally irrelevant at this point in time? Like, I get it. Slavery is just always going to be a popular talking point, but can we just get on with it, okay? Could have also had Vice President Kamala Harris up there as well, because her father, or, her grandfather, whatever, was also a slaveholder back in her Caribbean black past, but I guess that doesn't count, right? Chiseled block of sandstone in the United States Capitol Visitors Center serves as a reminder that the home of the nation's Congress was built in part by enslaved black people. Yeah, within the confines of the United States, it was only black people that were enslaved, right? Don't do any research into that and figure out that it was also Irish that were, strung up and discriminated against just at the exact same levels that the blacks were. But no, it's easier to racially identify minority groups that way. A bronze plaque says the stone, originally part of the building's exterior, commemorates the important role in building the Capitol, which was all put up by black slaves, right? Many lawmakers need to look no further than their own family histories to find a much more personal connection to slavery in America, a brutal system of oppression that resulted in the deadliest conflict in U.S. history. It's not the slavery itself that was the most destructive, it was the Civil War. That, as the way that it's taught in the current United States education system, was all over slavery, but if you know anything about old Honest Abe, well, maybe he was a little bit too honest about some of his positions. Ooh. See, I guess that joke doesn't quite work, if you don't have a proper collar. In researching the genealogies of America's political elites, a Reuters examination found that a fifth of the nation's congressmen, living presidents, Supreme Court justices, and governors are direct descendants of ancestors who enslaved black people, those poor black people. Among 536 members of the last sitting Congress, Reuters determined that 100 descendants from slaveholders. Of that group, more than a quarter of the Senate, 28 members, can trace their families to at least one slaveholder. And again, what is that? Just about 3/10, okay? Just would have been funny if it was like 3/5 of the Senate, but sometimes your memes do in fact have to be dreams. But it's like, okay, so what? A minority of both houses of your American elites are no longer, affected by your quote-unquote original American sin. So it's like, maybe it's just time to move on. I don't know. Those lawmakers from the 117th session of Congress are Democrats and Republicans alike. Yeah, we can kind of figure that out. It would just be hilarious if it was exclusively one party, but they include some of the most influential politicians in America: Republican Senators Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, Tom Cotton and James Langford, and Democrats Elizabeth Warren. Fucking hilarious. The bitch who built her entire reputation off of, well, I'm a Cherokee Indian. Well, yes, what is that? 1,024th of you? Better luck next time, Pocahontas. You're a fucking slaveholder. Aha. Tammy Duckworth. Oh, she black. Oh, but she's a veteran, so I think, and also a woman, so that like double cancels out. Jian Xian and Maggie Hassan. Why is it all the bitches on the Democrat side? That's funny as fuck. In addition, Well, I guess you could go to Chuck Schumer, but his ancestors were actually slaves in Egypt. In addition, President Joe Biden and every living former United States president. Okay, cool, stop, print, perfect. Okay, don't need to go any further, right? Except Donald Trump. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Wouldn't you think that Reuters was probably trying to write this in the hopes that, oh, this could be an orange man gotcha situation. But legitimately, every living former president, except for Donald Trump. Oh, we tried to catch him. We tried so hard, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Our direct descendants of slaveholders, Jimmy Carter, George W. Bush, well, and thankfully, HW has since passed on, but, you would also kind of think that, he'd be a part of that cabal. Bill Clinton, and through his white mother's side, Barack Obama. Yo, that's hilarious. The first black president was a fucking slaveholder. Aha. Trump's ancestors came to America after slavery was abolished. No, but he's like literally Hitler, guys. Come on. 2 of the 9 sitting United States Supreme Court justices, Amy Coney Barrett and Neil Gorsuch, also have direct ancestors who enslaved people. I just want to get to some of the more, important ones that make me laugh. The state's 2 black members of Congress, Senator and Republican presidential candidate Tim Scott and Representative James Clyburn, a powerful Democrat, have forebearers who were enslaved. Oh my God! Each of the 7 white lawmakers who served in the 117th Congress is a direct descendant of a slaveholder, Reuters found. Oh my God. Reuters found that at least 8% of the Democrats in the last Congress and 28% of Republicans had such ancestors. The preponderance of Republicans reflects the party's strength in the South. Sorry, what? Just don't look at the demographics and just think that it's the old racist plantation owners that are down there and not just, quite a quote-unquote diverse society that they have down there in the South. But okay. Reuters' examination reveals how intimately tied America remains with the institution of slavery. Yes, 8% and 28% are Republicans. A real fucking majority that you have found out right there. But with the idea that they were trying for such a gotcha when it comes to Trump and conducting this investigation that's very important to come out right around the time of July 4th long weekend. Okay, that's when this ultimately came out. Don't know when this video is going to, but trying to disparage America at the time of its independence is a bit sketch, but I wouldn't expect anything completely different from Reuters. But the best they can hang on Trump, I guess, is 2020. New insights into the political elite's ancestry links to slavery comes at a time of renewed and intense debate about the meaning of the institution's legacy and what, if anything, lawmakers should do about it. Oh, we know what SCOTUS thinks about it by just going affirmative action. Get the fuck out of here. Protests over police treatment of black people shook the United States. Well, protests, it's one word that you can use, and shook is, I guess, is that a new synonym for burnt down? Just wondering. After a white Minnesota police officer used correct police procedures to assist in the fentanyl overdose death of noted criminal George Floyd, a black man. Yeah, we know. In May 2020, activists pushed to remove monuments dedicated to the Confederacy. Oh, they were doing that long beforehand. It's just limp-wristed fruits that were in Congress at the time were just more than complacent to act like Nancy Pelosi putting on a dashiki from an old slave owner's lineage. But we don't have to worry about that either. Hilarious. Here's the big Trump gotcha. In September 2020, President Donald Trump signed an executive order, precluding federal funding for training that portrayed the United States as fundamentally racist or sexist. Biden revoked that order in January of 2021 because he's the good black man, or the good white man, because his forefathers employed black men just against their will. But we don't have to get into the specifics on that one. So with all of that information in mind and the fact that it's like, hey, we got this problematic 8%. Well, hey, if you want to talk about problematic, we can go 13% contributing to 52% to the... Anyways, the most you can hang on Trump is, he signed an executive order to stop teaching revisionist history about how awful and oppressive America was, even though it was instrumental in the abolition of mainstream slavery. But we don't have to talk about that at all whatsoever, right? I remember this specific quote from the 3rd presidential debate that was out there that I will always find hilarious. And once again, what's that meme? Oh, Trump was always right.
I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
What do you say to Americans?
I am the least racist person in this room. Well, checks out. And survey says, oh, that's true. Fact check says 100% true, right? And then, of course, Trump decided to go ahead and take a victory lap on this because guess what? Well fucking deserved. Trump gloats over Reuters report that his ancestors never owned slaves. Exactly. Yeah, but he comes from Germany and they did bad things. Yeah, but also his ancestors left before anything in Germany was going down at that point in time. So, sucks to suck. Foiled again. Donald Trump wasted a little time in responding to Reuters analysis that revealed he is the only living former president. And I would imagine if you take a look at the rest of the other presidents as well, they're probably inexorably tied to holding slaves or whatever the fuck. Who cares? President Joe Biden and every living president except Donald Trump are direct descendants of slaveholders. Jimmy Carter, and we might have to go ahead and adjust that because it says 5 living former presidents, and maybe by the time that this video ultimately gets released, maybe Jimmy Carter will no longer be among us. But just know that, he was a descendant of a slaveholder. W and HW, Clinton, and through his white mom's side, Barack Obama. It would just be hilarious if it was a part of his Nigerian father's side. Trump posted Tuesday on a Truth Social platform. Remember, according to Reuters, Trump's ancestors came to America after slavery was abolished. Yeah, we know that. In researching the genealogies of America's political elites, a Reuters examination found that a fifth of the nation's congressmen, living presidents, Supreme Court justices, and governors are direct descendants of ancestors to enslaved black people. But you know who's not among that group of people who enslaved black people? That would be orange people, vindicated once again. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.